Hello, my name is Daniel Roberts, a volunteer at the Highline Heritage Museum, and you're listening to Highline Times in History on KQWZ 106.5 FM. And I'm with Roger Price.
We're both here at the museum today. We're sitting in the radio booth of One America. Do a little recordings, and we're going to try to do an ongoing show, a series during the summertime.
And the hope of this program is to record some of the memories of a long-term resident of the Highline area, so that you guys can enjoy it now or years from now.
Okay, well, thank you, Daniel. Yes, KQWZ 106.5.
Thank you for listening, and enjoy the show.
Good afternoon. I'm Roger Price from the volunteer at the Highline Heritage Museum. And today, Daniel and I are here in the radio booth of One America, and we're going to discuss some of the older buildings in Burien on 9th Avenue Southwest. It was the Burien, or the Seattle Co-op, Burien Co-op, I guess, too, also. It's the same store, but it was built around 1921, and it's situated just off of 152nd and 9th Southwest. The building still actually exists there today. It's been, I know, for several years. It was known as the Antlers, but I think they had maybe possibly antiques in there, but I'm not really sure what all, because I never was in there. And I think now it's actually maybe apartment or something. I think it's split up into two halves now. But back in 21, it was a little different shape to it. So the roof line's still there, but everything else has been changed a little bit. But so I don't remember. I remember it back in probably the 50s, 60s being there, but and it was actually right behind the where the bakery was there, the Danish bakery, which is now the cookie store. But so it's been there for many, many years. And I think that there's several buildings in that same area. So that the feed store, I think some of the people that ran the feed store also helped in building the co-op store. So that was they were involved in all that, along with the ones from the pool hall, Wright's pool hall, and different ones. So it was there for many, many years, and it's like I say, it's still there. But I don't know, Daniel, if you have anything more to add to that, or
Oh yeah, well, it's always interesting to see some buildings. They're built for one thing and then they continue existing but used for different things. Like back at my hometown, there's this part of my university that was the Fabian Garcia Annex, and it was originally established by this one gentleman, surprisingly, Fabian Garcia, to be dorms for some of the different like students, like some of the more I think it was like the poorer students, to give affordable housing for them. And then it switched over to, I think it was something with the school's yearbook, and then it switched to a kind of this general administrative building. It had the stuff for like the study abroad, and then like something for like, what is it, grants and like scholarships for different students of different demographics. So, it's kind of cool to see that the building still stands, even if it's doing something completely different from what it was originally built for.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, sure. It's nice to keep those. I keep those old buildings. Sometimes they have to replace some walls or foundation, but they do a good job in maintaining them. But yeah, I know there's another one that was just next to the feed store. It was uh, Ivan Phillips had a gas station there way back in the 20s, and then over time. And then also the trolley ran just in front of Ivan's service station, but it ran on down to Seahurst. But then that was eventually torn down, and they built a grocery store there, which where I worked for a while was Burien Center Foods. But so there's a lot of history right in this section of Burien, and then there's also the old log cabin that was on closer to 8th Avenue and about 154th. And it's still there too today. It was started out to be kind of a men's club. You know, they used it to kind of maybe gather the men in the beer in back in the 20s to just kind of hang out, maybe uh, have some beers or something. I don't think it was really it was never a tavern, but it was just a meeting place for those guys. But so that's been a place for a long, long time.
Oh yeah, and it's always fun when those buildings I don't know keep their original look. So, I know that sometimes, they'll make adjustments or changes, and those can be interesting too, just to see what they change. But seeing it as it was like 10, 20, 50, 100 years ago, it's really interesting. Like
Uh-huh.
there's a decent number of places, not in my hometown, but like over in Santa Fe, which is like the capital of my home state. And they had a lot of these old buildings that keep getting repurposed for different stuff. They'll have general maintenance because, buildings over 100 or 200 years old. You got to fix it up a little bit, but it's great to see.
Yeah, oh, of course. Yeah. Well, Burien's not as I mean, Burien was just getting started around the 1900s. So there were people that lived out here before that in the 1880s and 90s, but it was really starting to get more uh, activity out here back in around the turn of the century. And then in 1920s, there was more uh, stores being built out in what we call Old Town Burien now. But yeah, it was a very interesting time. Plus, we also had different service stations that were popping up back then. So that was always, and Ivan Phillips, like I say, he was kind of the instrumental in getting a lot of things going here. But that was because he was the fire chief, he was on the police department, maybe the sheriff, and so he did a lot of stuff. But yeah, well, also had Danielle. I know we got to maybe we were going to talk a little bit about the Hillgrove Cemetery uh, today. That's how it's one of the older cemeteries. It might be the oldest one. It's out on about 200th and oh, what is that about the 18th south? Just on the hillside there. I know there used to be a grade school. Maywood, I believe, was out in that kind of that area, but now the cemetery is it's kind of gone down into disrepair. But I think now they're going to start paying a little more attention to it. Maybe they'll put some new fencing up and also do some improvement to the some of the grave markers because some of the very earliest pioneers in that area were buried there. So it's really important that we get that maybe fixed up a little bit, make it more accessible also, and so that they can keep out some of and also keep out the vandalism. I know it's kind of sitting there where there's not many people living, so kids could break in there and they kind of vandalized it over the years. But that's, that's kind of how that particular cemetery got run down.
Oh yeah, and, I've heard about that before. The families of the deceased, maybe the last person passed away or they've moved away, whole number of reasons, but it's happened to like many graveyards across the country and I mean, imagine the world that, you know, it's just some people just see it as just another cemetery, but I mean they all have their history and I guess it's the hard part is justifying why this one specifically deserves it. But that's always if people can find a good reason, then by all means. And yeah, it's also yeah, I can see about the vandalism you're talking about. Like if it's just this disrepaired or graveyard, maybe some kids they aren't thinking anything malicious per se. They're just like, well, no one cares about it anymore. So, that if people show that they do care, well, hopefully it'll keep people away that, would just cause damage.
Oh, for sure. Well, no, it's kind of on a nice location because when they get the 509 expressway built, completed, they'll be able to, it'll be situated right above that so that they'll be looking kind of to the east or towards to the expressway, but there'll be a very busy spot then. That roads will be, there'll be plenty of activity going on then after that expressway gets opened up. I believe it is in 2028, somewhere in there. But yeah, it's always good to kind of preserve these things that meant so much to some people. I know the first person that was buried there was, I don't recall the name. Might be Elsley. I'm not sure, but it was right around 1900. So it's good to keep these things preserved.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Do you want to have anything else to add?
I'd also like to mention one of the old sporting goods stores in Burien because I was always interested in getting maybe a new baseball glove or a new pair of uh, tennis shoes for basketball. So, and I think the first one that I recall was down there, kind of where Wayne's Produce is down there in that area around Umpqua Bank, which is now Columbia Bank. But yeah, and then Lucky Donuts was there. But uh, the sporting goods, Art Sporting Goods, was back in the very corner back there. And they had all the latest and great sporting equipment. I did get a baseball glove there one time. Uh, and also, I think got my first set of maybe Converse tennis shoes at that sporting goods store. Was probably I was probably maybe in the eighth or ninth grade, Sylvester, and that was I was trying out for the basketball team, which I did survive the final cut, so I did make the basketball team. I was pretty short, so I wasn't really involved in a lot of the uh, playing time, but I did get in now and then until I hurt my knee. Uh, Driving to a basket one time, I was stole the ball at half court, and then I was running down to do a lay-in, and I got ran over by one of my teammates, and it kind of messed up my knee, so that put an end to my season. But yeah, I did like the different sport. I know Osborne and Newland was a sporting goods shop, and it was also down there in that general area. It was more down from where the Honda motorcycle store was, and it was on 152nd. And I think there was also back then there was also where we got our senior pictures taken for the annuals, but. And then across the street from there was where Shucks Automotive was back then. And I used to probably, when I got into high school and I had old cars, you always were going into Shucks or to Joe's Auto Store up on 153rd. They were always looking for, get some oil or some spark plugs or whatever you needed. to keep your car running good. And you'd get maybe some points and distributor cap, condenser, rotor, all that. And then you try to tune it up. But yeah, those was some good places to go. Firestone was right next door to Shucks at that time. And then you worked your way up to where it was Winchell's Donuts, but actually it's Lucky's Donuts now. So, but yeah, those were fun times too.
I can imagine. Now, that does kind of also remind me of some of the older parts of my hometown, like just general downtown Las Cruces, and it was you had a area like the Rio Grande Theater, and for the longest time, like when I was growing up, it was kind of run down. There were stores there, but it didn't get a lot of business. But what happened, weirdly or funnily enough, is the liquor licenses like laws for that state got really relaxed so they could have more bars there. And that can, as far as I could tell, completely revitalized the entire area. You got the theater with it still works as a theater and a bunch of businesses that also get benefit from people going to the bars.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's progress, I guess, huh? Different things like that. Well,
Yes,
that's
so yeah.
well,
Well, was there anything else you wanted to add?
I think that'll do her. I don't know. We're gonna we'll come up with another area of uh, our remembering different areas of the Burien White Center and Des Moines and SeaTac. So we're kind of we'll think of something for the next program.
Yep, yep. I've always found it fun to hear your stories about the Highline area. Lets me know a little bit more about this place. So, if that's all, then I hope everyone found something interesting on this, and I hope you guys will join us again.